I am Ray, and you probably believe in the most common spiritual myth that, all the gurus talk about, but they never really explain it. I bet you think that lust is wrong, or that desire is dangerous, and that the only way to be truly spiritual is to get rid of all of these earthly things. We can't be having this, desires of the flesh? I think not. No, you have been fooled. And now you must observe into the orb of pondering to cleanse away your ignorance. You see? Let me show you what they were actually talking about, and I'll share with you the practice that truly frees you from your suffering. Are you ready? Hold on to your butt, and or plural, butts. You see, lust and desire are not blocking your freedom. You see? Your relationship to them is. We all just assume that, this thing, because those authority figures 2,000 years ago, they said it was bad. And, everyone keeps saying it's bad, so it must be bad. Our little monkey nature just looks to whoever knows more and just assumes, it must be true. And also in our own personal experience, we go through these strong desires, strong lust, falling into temptation. And then we feel bad afterwards. So we're like, yeah, they must have been right. But let me prove why they were wrong. Lust itself can be good or bad. Desire can be good or bad. It doesn't matter. It's all about your interpretation. And here's what happens. Something creates in us a negative feeling. So naturally we don't like it. We want to run away from that. And then what happens? Those negative feelings turn into negative thoughts. And those negative thoughts begin creating an identity. Oh, I'm doing something bad. I should not have done this. I should not want this. But the problem is, as we feed that attachment, it gets worse. And so the addictions get worse. The desires get stronger. We do nothing but reinforce the exact same thing we're trying to avoid. You see? Like, for example, if you have some kind of sexual addiction, right? What is it like? You feel really strongly like, yep, this is what I want, and I'm going to get it, and no one's going to stop me from getting this. And then you indulge, and then what happens? It's the exact opposite. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. This sucks. I feel like poop. Not good. The problem is, you are in this push-pull relationship with your sexual instinct, and also with whatever desire you might be talking about. And tension is always created through opposites. Meaning, the more you're stuck in a push-pull relationship with anything, the more attached to it you become. It's like, why do people stay in toxic relationships? It's because it feels really bad when they're mean to me, but it feels oh so good when we come back together. We're just being pulled around by our temporary emotional states. A slave to our animal instinct. This animal body of feelings. The problem is, once you label and judge something as bad, the moment you engage with that thing, you also feel like you yourself are bad now, because now that negativity is being rubbed all over you. But look at the problem. The problem is not the thing. The problem is not the addiction. It's not the action. It's your judgment of it. Because if you took away your judgment, you would not feel bad about it. Like, think about someone who goes to the gym all the time. They have a strong identity about going to the gym, right? They have an attachment about going to the gym. So one day when they wake up and they feel lazy, I don't want to go to the gym today. I'm going to sit in bed. I'm going to eat breakfast and have some cookies and milk. Screw the gym. And screw Jim, because he's always mean to me. Actually, somebody who's identified with going to the gym probably doesn't think that, but the moment they stay in bed, they choose not to go to the gym, they choose to be lazy, well, guess what? They just betrayed themselves. They just betrayed their identity. So naturally, their body is going to send them a signal that says, hey, you did something wrong. You should not have done that. Pay attention. Do better next time. That's what our body does. Because if you betray yourself, you could die. So it's a survival mechanism. That's what shame is. That's what guilt is. But think about all the people who have no identity about going to the gym at all, who stay inside and eat cheese puffs all day, and do nothing. They do not feel guilty because they don't have an identity around it. Now, maybe they should, but that's not the point. They don't. Because identity is what creates your thoughts, and thoughts create feelings. How many people do you think watch pornography who don't feel guilty about it? And how many of the most destructive sexual people on the planet are the most religious? Why? Because they have this strong identity about being morally superior. I have to be better than this. And yet your sexual instincts, which are hundreds of millions of years old, do not care about your silly little moral belief systems. And the more you try and repress it, the more the sexual instincts are going to say, oh, you want to mess with me, do you? Well, how do you like animals? You like animals? Well, you must really like animals. Or how about feet? You like feet? I'll give you some feet. The more you judge and label yourself as bad, or a desire as bad, or lust as bad, the more you are naturally going to repress that thing and create a lot of tension around it. But it's just this whole psychological drama that we keep reinforcing. Like, I'm bad, this is bad, I'm doing bad things, I'm trying to be good, I'm trying to be better. The moment I stopped judging myself, the moment I lost my attachments to my desires and I stopped feeding them, I realized there was nothing wrong. It was just my own judgment. Until you stop fueling this identity with shame and guilt for whatever it is, you're going to keep feeding that attachment and it's going to get worse. And then you're going to have to spend your whole life struggling with that thing, creating endless problems in your life. When you can become free of any addiction or any strong desire that you think is bad for you effortlessly, and also while still indulging in it. The problem is not the desire. The problem is your ignorance in believing that the desire is going to give you some kind of lasting satisfaction. And it's not. All you got to do is wake up to that fact. It's like any self-destructive behavior. It's like putting your hand on a hot stove. If you paid attention to what you were doing, you would not continue doing it. It's like one time I was drinking a lot of coffee. I had, if you ever see those mason jars, I was drinking 3 of those mason jars a day of coffee. And one day I ran out of cream. Not good. And so I was forced to drink the coffee black. Oh God. Well, I only drink black coffee now. But the point is, that day, I couldn't even finish one mason jar. And what I discovered was that the cream was covering up the unpleasantness of the whole experience. There was no true satisfaction. It was causing me misery in ways I could not even understand. Being tired all the time, trouble sleeping, whatever. Or just the negative effects of caffeine making you all jittery. By the time I got down to the last quarter, I'm like, I don't want to drink this anymore. I don't even like this. This is not serving me in any way. And after that, I went down from 3 mason jars a day to almost 1. After a week, I started drinking tea. I couldn't even finish 1 cup of black tea. And then I just stopped drinking caffeine altogether. And I quit for I don't even remember how long. It's over a month. The point is, the addiction let go of itself simply because I became aware of how unpleasant it actually was. So to any addiction, any desire that is causing you suffering, it will happen the same way. But until you realize the suffering that you are creating, it's not going to change. And the reason we don't recognize it fully is because we are so immersed in our psychological drama about what is happening to ourselves. We're just wallowing in suffering. Oh, this sucks. I hate myself. I hate my life. Everything is bad. It's all my fault. You're not paying attention to the lessons that life is trying to teach you. So you just wallow in suffering, don't change, struggle miserably. When there is a much better solution, okay? You listening? Freedom begins the moment you stop judging yourself and you start accepting what is. The only reason we experience suffering is because our identity is judging life, it's judging our current experiences and saying, this is not good, I do not like this, something is wrong, So your body is getting sent into fight or flight over and over again whenever that stimulus arises. And that is what is keeping you stuck. If you reframe your relationship to your desires, you can be free. When you stop judging them as bad and you just start accepting life as it is, you accept yourself as you are with all of your imperfections, all of your shortcomings. That is when change happens. That is when you become free. You don't become free with wrestling with the darkness, with fighting it, with struggling with it. It's like throwing punches in a dark room. What's going to happen? You're just going to exhaust yourself until you die. Not good. So all you got to do is turn on the lights. Allow more light in. Stop fighting with your darkness and accept it. And that is how you allow more light in. Because so long as you are resisting life, which is the light in you, well, it's just mathematics. The more you resist life, the more you grow closer to death, which is darkness. And with darkness and death comes suffering, and that is why you suffer. You're just being disconnected from life, from truth, stuck in ignorance, believing that something is true when it is not. In other words, you're judging life and saying, life should not be going this way right now, and I do not accept it. And life is saying, well, I've been doing this much longer than you. Who are you to say anything, little monkey? That is what God said to Job after he destroyed his life. Or should I say, he let the devil destroy his life. God made a deal with the devil, and the devil's like, well, you know that Job guy, he's got a lot of Jobs. He's got a farm, he's got a wife. He gets paid pretty good. How about I take it all away from him, and he will stop loving you, God? And God was like, no, he's my most faithful servant. You cannot take this away from him. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead. Do what you gotta do. So the devil took away everything, destroyed his family, killed everyone, turned his friends against him, gave him the plague. And Job, after all of this suffering, went to God and said, hey God, why you do this to me? What did I do wrong? What is happening? Why? And God was like, who are you to complain or judge me, the Creator? Where were you when I wrestled the Leviathan? You were not there. I don't remember seeing you there. Were you there? No, I don't think so. So how about you just stop it? Stop complaining. Take it like a man. And Job was like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I give it all to you, God. And eventually God restored everything that he lost like 10 times over. Now, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that no matter what happens to you, from our limited human perspective, we have no understanding. And all of our judgments about how we think life should be, like who are we to say, well, this is how life should be? When God has been doing this for billions of years, if not more. And we have been alive for, most people die by 120, okay? 120 years, however many billion, if not infinite. That is the issue. You are judging yourself for being bad or being wrong. But what is wrong is your judgment, not what you are doing. Now, that can be hard, because sometimes people are into some sick things. But if you want to be free, it's irrelevant. It's just you and God. God is giving you exactly what you need at this moment for your highest spiritual growth. So you have to be open to that understanding, or else you'll stay stuck in that misery the whole time, and you'll never escape, because you're constantly feeding that attachment with your emotions, through your identity, through your judgment. And only when you become non-attached can you be free. And in order to be non-attached, you have to reframe your whole understanding of life and what's going on. You stop judging it as wrong and you start judging it as, well, if it's happening, it must be happening for a reason. And your body, your animalistic nature will fight tooth and claw and say, no, how dare you try and accept the unacceptable? You cannot do this to me. and will constantly try and send you into fight or flight to react to whatever is happening. But you have to build your faith and trust muscles, or else you continue placing burdens upon yourself and creating massive problems in your life. You continue to create karma through your reactions. So you feed the karma, it gets worse and worse and worse, and then you have bigger punishments to deal with. If you just let go and allowed God to take over, your punishments would be less and less and less until you stopped getting punished at all. Until you gave all the things that are creating suffering in your life up. You can't give up your desires of the world until you are done with them. And if you try to give them up prematurely, you will repress those desires, and they will just come back up from the depths like jaws and pull you under. There is no getting rid of those desires. There is no getting rid of that lust, because it has primal energy that is more powerful than you as the conscious mind. And the more you try to fight with it, the more you struggle. And yet if you and your animal instincts are on the same page, you stop struggling. And now you become empowered. The problem is, so many people are trying to be spiritual. They're trying to be religious. They're trying to be better than they are. And that is ignorance. Accept yourself as you are now. And there is no virtue in denying yourself and pretending that you are something that you are not. All you have to do is learn the lesson that life is trying to teach you, and whatever is causing you suffering just goes away naturally. But until you learn, you will not change. And the only way to learn is to stop allowing your mind to get polluted by your psychological nonsense of what you think is right and wrong, because the darkness and the light are equally in service to the whole truth, and God by nature is wholeness. It's like if you're watching a movie, you're trying to get rid of the villain. Well, congratulations, you get rid of the villain, you get rid of the whole movie. No one wants to watch it unless you're watching some kind of rom-com, and then there's still a villain. That is our human ignorance. Our body only wants pleasure and pain, or it wants to avoid pain. Some people like pain too. But from the highest perspective, from the highest truth, it's all good. It's all part of it. So we have to accept all of life with all of its misery and all of its darkness and realize that it is already perfect now. That you are already perfect now. And in your attempts to grow and change, that is also perfect. Because you are the movie star and everything you do is interesting. Just because you're falling into some kind of dangerous addiction does not make that not interesting. Probably makes you more interesting. Now, you still want to overcome and transcend the darkness in you. But the point is, you can only do this until you start accepting yourself as you are. Instead of judging yourself and saying, oh, well, I'm bad, I'm no good, I shouldn't be having this, I should be better. You should not be better, you should be as you are now. Tomorrow never comes. Accept yourself in the present moment. Because that is where life is experienced. And unless you start living in the present moment and you get out of your psychological drama, well, you're going to continue to be disconnected from life. You're going to experience more suffering, more diseases, more pain, because you start becoming a vessel for death the more you're disconnected from life. And the only reason that happens is because of your own mind. The only prison in existence is your mind, and you are the prisoner and the jailer, and you reinforce this prison with your thoughts, with the stories you entertain, with your judgments. Stop it. Stop it. There is nothing wrong with life. There is only your wrong judgment. And the practice that will set you free is to spiritualize everything. It's like there's a section of Hindu monks called the Aghori. And they're pretty controversial because they like to meditate upon dead bodies and eat human flesh. They're cannibals. They eat out of human skulls, like bulls. A bull skull. And that might actually be pretty cool, if you think about it. And to most people, they'd be like, well, that's demonic. That's not spiritual at all. That's very scary. Here, let me go over here where it's all love and light. We can't be having this. But of course, people are so attached to their religious beliefs and to what they think is true, they don't understand that they are some of the most spiritually advanced individuals. Because if you can be non-attached to even the most disturbing things, that is real freedom. But if you have to be in church not to be disturbed, if you're being disturbed by your negative thoughts and the demons that are, somewhere, I'm sure they're out there, well, that's not freedom. That's just your own rigmarole. Nonsense. The more attached you are to your beliefs and to your desires, the more a slave you are, by definition. And the more non-attached you are, the more free. As Jesus said, you're living in the world, but you're not of the world. It's being able to experience all of life, all of the darkness, all of the light, and still be free, and not allow the world to pull you around. But you cannot do that so long as you have this made-up identity in your mind about, I have to be like this, or I have to be like that. You don't have to be like anything. You just have to be like you as you are now. And also, that doesn't mean you don't grow and change and evolve and do better, because that too is perfect. You see? And society can judge you, other people can judge you, but you are on your own unique spiritual journey, and no one can tell you what is right or wrong. From an earthly perspective, there are billions of things that are right and wrong, but from the highest spiritual perspective, there is not. It's all good. It's all right. And that is why we spiritualize everything. You spiritualize going to church, and you spiritualize taking a poop, and you spiritualize taking a poop in church. Hopefully in the bathroom stalls, not in the service. Although that too is perfect. It's okay. We all make mistakes in the heat of passion. Everything that you do, when you're at your monotonous job that you hate, when you're arguing with your spouse or whoever, use that as your spiritual practice, because no matter what is happening, all of life is happening now. And it is trying to reveal to you, as the mind, all of these different attachments that you have. And the spiritual practice is, on this journey, you remove the attachments that are keeping you a slave to suffering. It's not desire, it's not lust. It's your attachment to these things. It's your ignorance, your illusion in thinking that somehow, once you obtain this object of your desire, that you will now be happy. And it's not true. And it will never be true, no matter what you do in this life. Doesn't matter how much money you think you're going to make. Doesn't matter how many relationships you think you're going to have. You can get married. It's not going to satisfy you. Nothing will satisfy you in this life. You will have temporary satisfaction. And the illusion that we're in is believing that we can find lasting satisfaction in a temporary world. You can only find lasting satisfaction in you, in the eternal. As Jesus said, drink from the well the water that I give you, right? Because you will not be thirsty. But if you drink of the water of this world, you shall be thirsty. Every time you find yourself suffering, you wake up and recognize, oh, wait a minute, there's an attachment here. And every time you wake up to that attachment, you shine the light of your awareness upon your suffering. You illuminate the darkness that caused it. And that, in that moment, you become a little bit more free. You break one more link on all the chains that are keeping you a slave to these lower hell realms. And that's just your spiritual practice for the rest of your life. Everything is your spiritual practice. There is nothing that is not spiritual, because it's all God. It's all life. And it's not like God is over there, but God's not over here. Even though that's what we think, God is everywhere. And until you accept your darkness and your light, and you're not attached to either of them, you're always going to get pulled around by your thoughts. You have to become beyond good and evil, because that is the nature of God. When in the Bible it said that God is good, they were not talking about God is only light and love. The truth is that God is wholeness. God is harmony, balance. And in order to have balance, you need the reconciliation of opposites. You have an army within you, an army of darkness and an army of light, angels and demons, and you have to get them on the same page, going in the same direction. Because otherwise there's going to be an eternal battle within you, wrecking you from the inside. And hey, that too is just another beautiful story, but I don't think it has as much of a happy ending. And the first step is accepting life as it is, accepting yourself as you are. Stop judging yourself. And the more you become free from these attachments, the more you realize the underlying perfection that is the true nature of reality. And so you naturally stop judging life anymore. Doesn't mean you can't still live in the world. It means you're no longer of the world. And this is where freedom from suffering is found. Non-attachment, acceptance of life as it is right now. Now, if you're ready to transform your life and step into true freedom, join us in the Spiritual Rebels community. We'll be waiting. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be.